clear, high-stakes payoff promise forcing watching? Watch to the end to see the unredacted files that reveal what is currently waking up inside. Short punchy sentences, but to understand why top-tier geophysicists were abruptly ordered to pack up their equipment and surrender their survey files, we have to rewind. We have to travel back to a bitter cold morning in December 1853, amidst the dirt and dust of northern Iraq. Rewind effect, archival footage slideshow. Archaeologist Austin Henry Laird and his team were excavating the ruined palace of King Ashurbanipal. Ashurbanipal was the ruthless ruler of the Neo-Assyrian Empire. He was obsessed with collecting all human knowledge before his empire fell. His royal library contained over 30,000 clay tablets. Most were cracked, scorched by the catastrophic fire that leveled Nineveh in 612 BC. Pattern interrupt, deep bass drop map transition. But deep under the collapsed stone roof of the royal inner sanctum, Laird's workmen struck a wall made of thick, lead-infused mortar. It was an intentional shield. It took 3 days of sledgehammer blows to breach it. Inside sat no gold, no jewels, and no royal skeletons. There was only a single, perfectly preserved cuneiform tablet resting on a slab of dark, polished basalt. The scholars who first examined it were baffled. Unlike the other tablets in Ashurbanipal's collection, this one had no title, no author mark, and no royal seal. It was called the Dienavit fragment, the path of the water god. Now, open loop number 1. Why hide a clay tablet behind lead mortar when an entire palace is burning around you? Because whoever put it there believed its contents were far too dangerous for the surface world. Pattern interrupt, RE engagement beat 25%, and yet, the strangest part of this ancient map was still to come. By 1891, the tablet had been transported to the damp basement archives of the British Museum. A brilliant young linguist named George Smith took on the task of translating its dense, microscopic grid of symbols. He quickly realized it wasn't a standard Mesopotamian text. It was a mathematical mapping code based on astronomical alignments. Smith spent 4 agonizing months calculating the celestial alignments described on the tablet. The results were terrifyingly precise. The tablet mapped out planetary vectors, star positions, and ground distances relative to the ancient city of yore. But when Smith cross-referenced these coordinates with standard maps of the Middle East, they pointed directly to a spot in the center of the Rub' al Khali, the infamous empty quarter. The empty quarter is one of the most hostile places on Earth. A vast sea of shifting sand dunes, scorching winds, and zero liquid water. A place where human survival is measured in hours, not days. According to the tablet, deep beneath this unmapped expanse lay a location designated as the Vault of the Unborn. It wasn't described as a burial site. It was described as a sealed chamber housing an engine that drinks the sun. Pattern interrupt, tense clock ticking sound. Smith wrote a private letter to his supervisor in November 1893. He stated, "This is not a myth. It is a navigational guide. The ancients were not building a monument here. They were marking a door." Shortly after writing that letter, Smith suffered a sudden, violent illness while traveling back to the Middle East. He died at 36. His personal field notes regarding the precise longitude calculations vanished from the museum archive. For 4 decades, the story lay buried in dust. Then came 1932. An eccentric British explorer named Harry St. John Philby embarked on a treacherous journey into the empty quarter. He wasn't looking for ancient tablets. He was searching for the legendary lost city of Waba, often referred to as the Atlantis of the Sands. But Philby had secured private transcripts of George Smith's original translations. When Philby approached the local Bedouin guides to lead him toward the coordinate area, they refused. They dropped to their knees, reciting prayers against malevolent spirits. They told Philby that the area was called Al-Hadida, the place of iron. They claimed that beneath the sands lay something that was not built by human hands, something that hummed during cold desert nights. Pattern interrupt, Sandstorm sounds, high suspense music. Philby pushed on alone with a small skeleton crew. What he found sent chills down his spine. He didn't find stone ruins or ruined walls. He found a massive, bowl-shaped crater stretching hundreds of feet across. The sand surrounding the crater was transformed into black, vitrified glass, a phenomenon that only occurs under temperatures exceeding 3,000 degrees Fahrenheit. And sticking out from the center of the glass sand was a smooth, curved pillar of dense, magnetic black slag. Philby attempted to dig into the center of the crater. But every night, the surrounding sand dunes shifted violently, filling in their excavations. On the fourth night, Philby recorded a bizarre entry in his diary. He wrote that his compasses were spinning out of control, and his men reported hearing a low, vibrating drone that echoed through the soles of their boots. That same night, 6 of their draft animals mysteriously died without showing any sign of disease or injury. Terrified, Philby abandoned the expedition. He carried back only a small fragment of the fused black glass. When metallurgical tests were conducted in London, the glass contained trace elements of nickel and unknown metallic alloys that could not be categorized. Pattern interrupt, glitch effect. Modern high-tech UI. Decades passed. The secret map remained an obscure, forgotten footnote in esoteric archaeology. Until 1974. During the height of the Cold War, the U.S. government launched top-secret satellite imaging operations known as the Corona Project. Their goal was to map foreign military installations using high-altitude infrared technology. But while sweeping the Arabian Peninsula, satellite sensors picked up an anomalous thermal signature in the middle of the empty quarter, the exact location mapped by the Ashurbanipal tablet. Pattern interrupt. RE engagement beats 65%. If you think a buried geometric dome in the desert is impossible, what researchers detected in 2018 will leave you speechless. In 2018, a private consortium specializing in deep bedrock energy exploration deployed advanced satellite LiDAR and ground-penetrating radar arrays over that precise sector. They were looking for deep groundwater reserves. Instead, their radar pulses bounced off a wall of impenetrable matter located 600 feet below the desert floor. When they processed the three-dimensional volumetric scans, the team was stunned into silence. Pattern interrupt. Radar pulse sound graphic map unveiling the scan did not reveal a cave system. It revealed an artificial structure. A perfectly symmetrical, hollow sphere measuring over 300 meters across. The outer boundary was composed of an unbroken, high-density shell that completely shielded its interior from electromagnetic radiation. And now we return to the moment where our story began. The research team lowered deep-bore seismic microphones through a narrow drill shaft to record acoustic feedback from the surrounding bedrock. They expected absolute silence. Instead, they recorded a rhythmic, ultra-low frequency acoustic hum. A sound that repeated every 4.2 seconds with mechanical precision. It was coming from inside the sealed sphere. The audio files were sent to acoustic experts at top European laboratories. The consensus was terrifying. The sound was not geological. It was a resonance pattern, consistent with an internal power cycle or a continuous mechanical pulse operating inside an airtight subterranean chamber. 2 days after the acoustic recording was analyzed, armed personnel arrived at the remote survey site. The field team was ordered to dismantle their equipment immediately. Their drill shaft was filled with tons of quick-setting concrete, sealing the borehole forever. The survey data was classified under national security exemptions. Why did King Ashurbanipal's scribe seal a coordinate map behind a wall of lead 3,000 years ago? How did an ancient civilization possess precise spatial coordinates to a metallic structure buried 600 feet beneath shifting desert sand? And most terrifying of all, if that buried chamber has been sealed for thousands of years, what is still inside it, keeping the power on? If you enjoyed this deep dive into the unexplained, hit the subscribe button, turn on notifications, and leave your thoughts in the comments below. Until next time, stay curious, and keep watching the shadows.